Hey Dad, welcome to workout number 3, a full body workout with unilateral movements. So full body meaning that we are going to have a hinge motion, a squat motion, a pull, and a press and core. So just a little bit of everything from the other 2 days in this day. And then also we've got unilateral movements. So meaning a lot of these exercises you'll do one side then the other, one leg then the other, one arm then the other. So it could take a little bit longer just because you're doing basically twice as many reps as the other workouts that I created. I think one of them is not unilateral. That being said, you could choose to go a little heavier and do fewer reps if you wanted to do more like 6 to 8 reps. You could also just choose a number that you're going to do every time so you don't have to remember how many you did on one side. You're like, I'm always going to do 8, right? Unless you choose a weight that's too heavy and you can't do 8. Maybe 8 reps, okay? Okay, we'll get started in the warm-up. So, starting with a straight leg rock back, you'll come to a tabletop first, extend one leg out to the side, so it's going basically straight out here, and then I have my back toes tucked just because it's a little more supportive. You could have the top of the foot on the ground. You'll start to shift your hips back towards your heel, and then come back up. Shift your hips back, and come up. All right, and then just switch sides, so it's however many I wrote down there, each side. And from the side, it looks like this. Out, shift back, and in. Okay. From there, we have bird dogs. So from your tabletop position, you'll extend opposite arm and leg. So I'm going to keep the left hand underneath the left shoulder and the right knee underneath the right hip. Extend the right arm forward and then the left foot back. This does take some balance and some core to keep yourself coordinated. Sometimes the tendency can be to open up to the left hip. You want to keep the left hip square with the right and the left toes pointing towards the ground. So a couple options here with the next part. You can either inhale, exhale, try to connect the elbow and the knee underneath you. If that's not possible, then you could always press your hand into your knee and you'll feel your core engage as you create this tension here, okay? And then a little bit less than even that is just reaching out, coming back to your tabletop. Reaching out the other way, back to your tabletop, okay? So you choose the progression that you want with that one. Next, we have a little out of breath. Lightweight squat to row. The only weights I have at home are 8, so that's why I keep using them. I don't have anything more challenging. Sometimes it's hard to demo something that's supposed to be done with a heavy weight with something that's kind of light. So hopefully this is working out for you. Anyways, so lightweight squat to row, so something pretty easy here. It could be 8 pounds. That actually might be an excellent weight to do. So you'll take your squat, any squat will do. I find it's helpful to turn the toes out a little bit, heels in, lower down to your squat, and then you'll hinge forward so that you can row, okay? So looks like squat, then hinge forward and row. And it doesn't have to be the lowest squat that you're going to do today. You're just starting to get warm here. Okay, squat to row with light weights. Finally, we have our pogos. Think of pogos like you're jumping rope, but you don't have a jump rope. So, and if you want to make it unilateral, you can do 6 on one foot, 6 on the other, right? You don't have to actually do the jump rope action. You can just have your hands by your sides if you want to. Up to you. And then repeat that for 5 minutes. Okay, moving on to the workout. We're starting with a single leg kickstand RDL, meaning Romanian deadlift, or just deadlift. I'm going to use 2 dumbbells to start, and I will also show you how you might use 1 dumbbell. If you're using 2 dumbbells, I probably would be going for, is it hailing? I think it's just rain. Okay, sorry. I would probably be using, well, if I was just doing 1, it would probably be around 40 pounds. So if I am doing 2, I'm probably going to choose 20 to 25 pounds for each hand, okay? So I'll make a note of that in there because I don't think I wrote it. So starting with single leg. So a deadlift, if you remember, we're coming down and we're coming back up We have that hip hinge motion. The back is nice and flat. Everything's strong and engaged. Single leg, you're only doing it on one leg. Okay, so we're coming down, finding a balancing position, and coming up. Coming down, balancing position, and then up. So what's challenging, you can imagine, is that people have a really hard time balancing on one leg, especially when you're trying to do it with control and with heavy weights and all of that. So that's where the kickstand comes in. The back foot, the one that would be flying if we were doing the balancing, right? So for me, that's my right foot right now. Instead of flying out back behind me, I'm just gonna keep it in a kickstand. So it's not supporting me in that it's holding a lot of weight. It's just keeping me from falling over. The left leg is still doing all of the work of the deadlift essentially, and the right leg is just helping me not fall. Okay, so just like that bird dog, you're gonna keep your hips square. You're not gonna let the right hip open up, and weights will come down to trace the body pretty much, and then back up. Whew. Right, lower down, and then back up. So this is where it could be easier to do this with one leg. So you've got a hand free for balance, and you might take that weight and make it just a little heavier. It doesn't matter if you decide that you want it to be the same arm and leg, so left arm holding the weight, left leg doing the balance, or if you want to do opposite. I prefer opposite. I just make sure that whatever you choose to do, you do that the whole time. So it's called ipsilateral when you do opposite. Okay, so I like this. The left hand can either be on my hip or floating out to the side, or even if I want a little bit more support with something else to hold on to, I could do that. I could have my right foot and my hand. I could decide the balance. Okay, so really, we're trying to make sure that the working leg is actually doing the work. It's not, you're not just falling out of it the whole time. So keeping your hips square, yourself nice and strong, your core engaged, and there's a lot going on, but it's good for you. It's good to balance. And then switch sides. Make sure you keep track of how many you do. That got a little bit long. It's just that's a little bit of a trickier one to explain. Next, we have a 3-point row. 3 points being your 3 points of contact, of support. So this could look like having your hand on a chair, or you have your bench. So I will use this at a bench height, okay? And then you're going to brace yourself here, hand is here, and then this weight that you're rowing, this is a challenging weight. This is something that you do your 8 reps on, and you are like, wow, I really hope I can do 8 reps on the other side. This is so hard, okay? So hand will plant on whatever it is. You have that support. That's why you want it even maybe more challenging than the rows that we did before. And you're just going to pull that weight up towards like this space right here between your ribs and your hip bone. That's where we're gonna pull it. Elbow goes straight up to the sky, and then lower, and up, and then lower. Exhale when you pull it up. Inhale as you lower, okay? And then you'll switch sides, get your support. Same thing on the other side, and pull, pull, okay? That's your 3-point row. So you'll switch, deadlift, right leg, left leg, or either order, your row, right arm, left arm, then you rest. Next, for your second group of exercises, you have your sumo squat. So, nice heavy dumbbells here, right? So you're gonna either have 2 heavy dumbbells right here in the middle, or you're gonna hold on to 1 single heavy dumbbell here. You could have the dumbbells up here, but if you have the weights up here, it's a lot harder to have a heavy weight. Like holding the weight up here requires you to use more of your core. It is just challenging on the arms to keep this up the whole time. You'll be able to do a heavier weight, challenge yourself more if you just have the weights dangling down like this. It's not like one is better than the other, but this specific exercise is for your legs, and your legs can always lift more than your arms can. So we're trying to remove some of the limitations of the upper body by just having them down here. So you might pick up your weights off the ground. Or you might have those weights on the bench in front of you because you know that they are so heavy it's going to be hard to get them off the ground. It's up to you. You're going to have a wider stance here. You'll angle your toes out, your heels in that like sumo stance, right? And then lower down, grab your weights if you have them, and then simply lower and lift. You might find that you can't go as low in this stance as I am going, and that is okay. Okay, so from the side, I'm just trying to make sure I'm in the frame. You'll lower down and lift. Lower down and lift. In the actual squat itself, everything's nice and strong. You might have noticed that's a theme here. Like, we're not just like letting it all be loose. We keep it all in, trying to brace. And again, not trying to like flare out the ribs, not trying to round the spine, something somewhat neutral. You can kind of tell what neutral is if you do the whole flare and you curl in. You can see what the extremes are, and you can find some place that feels like it's right in the middle, right? Lower down, lift up, lower down, lift up. Okay. Next, you have a single arm press, and I gave the option of doing this kneeling or standing. There are benefits to either, and you don't have to overthink it. You can just try one week and then try it a different way the next week. I will say the third exercise is also kneeling, so it might just be easier to stay on the ground. I don't know. So you'll take one weight, we'll bring it out, and you'll press it overhead. Now you might recall from the last video that I said that anytime you are working with just one side of the body like this, you're already working your core, because it's your core is doing what's called an anti-rotation, like trying to keep yourself from going over to the side. So you are already using your core for this exercise as you do your reps, and then you'll do the other side. If you choose half kneeling, you'll just be down here, hug your core in. I like to do the arm that's opposite the knee that's up. So knee that's on the ground has just a little more support, and that's the side that I'm doing the press with. One thing you could consider doing, once I show you the next exercise, you could consider doing like, you know, let's say right arm with the press, and then left side with your wood chop, then left side press, and right side wood chop, like doing something like this where you're repeating however it makes sense to you to do that, since you're already on the ground. You don't have to do that. You could. Okay, so do your reps for your single arm press. Again, something heavy, something challenging, something that makes you regret picking it up for at least 8 reps. And then that half kneeling wood chop, like I showed you, you'll have one leg forward, you'll hold on to the sides, bring the weight down towards the bottom hip, and then you'll bring it up like you're trying to like throw the weight over the shoulder, right? So down and up overhead, down and up overhead, okay? So the way down, it's a little slower, and the way up, it's faster, and you're really using your core, of course, here to throw that weight over your shoulder without actually throwing it. And that's your core exercise. Okay. So do exercises 3, 4, and 5 together. Repeat 3 times, do your rest in the middle. So for our cool down, it's really just a combination of some of the other things that we did the first 2 days. So again, your quad stretch could be standing if you want to, if that's what makes the most sense for you. It could be on the ground, like I showed you yesterday. The arm out at the wall stretch, that's where you bring one arm out and you just roll open onto the wall to stretch through here. Puppy pose at the wall, it's where your hands are either on a table, chair, bench, or just on the wall itself, and you allow yourself to sink down into it. Okay, seated forward fold or standing forward fold. Oops. Fold over your legs, either standing or seated on the ground. And then your figure 4 variations. This one I'll show you again because I know Marigold was just climbing all over me for this. You'll cross your whichever leg over, and the left leg, the one that's on the ground, is going to help give you some leverage here, so you can have this leg out as far as you need to for a little less sensation, closer in for more sensation, and then pressing your chest towards the shin of the leg closest to you to make it more intense. Or if you'd like, you can always do this on the ground as well. Okay, and that is your